No matter which diet or workout you're following, I promise you're doing 2 fat loss habits that are wrecking your metabolism just like it did mine. The worst part? I didn't even know it until it was too late. Had I known from the start of these 2 habit mistakes, I could have saved myself 6 months of weight gain and the 8 months before it of suffering for no results. The first habit we all do is to change our eating, which has a huge impact on metabolism. Let's first understand the science behind how nutrition impacts metabolism. No matter which nutrition plan you pick, whether it be keto, intermittent fasting, calories, macros, Weight Watchers, or literally whatever else, I did at least 10 of them myself. They all fall into 3 categories. Here's Dr. Peter Attia describing them. He dedicated years researching how to fight cancer and wrote the best-selling book Outlive: The Science and Art of Longevity.
You can directly restrict the number of calories you're eating. You can start to restrict macronutrients. That's what most diets are doing. I'm not eating sugar, I'm not eating carbs, I'm not eating fat. And then you have time restriction, or what people call intermittent fasting.
So no matter which method you pick, it works because of one reason. You're consuming lesser energy than you need, aka you're eating fewer calories. Now, calories are not equal from a satiety point of view, which is also very important to get right, and we will get into that in a bit. But first, we need to get things right from an energy point of view. My own personal experience, combined with having talked with thousands of people losing weight, tells me that we all tend to set our energy target too low. And this happens no matter which of the 3 categories we pick. If you're directly setting calories, you probably went off a calculator online, most of which will set it to the maximum safe point, that is a 30% calorie deficit, which causes quicker weight loss, but also comes with the highest risk of muscle loss in the safe zone. I'll explain in a bit how muscle loss wrecks metabolism. Now, you may think that by using macros, you've escaped this, but macro calculators also first calculate a 30% calorie deficit and then set the macro targets to total up to the 30% calorie deficit. If you think you're safe with a diet like keto or literally any diet that tells you to drastically reduce a macro or food group, think again, because they all especially want you to reduce carbs, which is the most accessible source of energy. But why does consuming less energy cause our metabolism to slow down? After all, as Dr. Peter Attia said, we have to be in an energy deficit to lose weight. Metabolism is another way to say how much energy your body needs to maintain itself at its current size. Think of your body like an accountant and your energy like money. Let's say you were making $100 per day and now suddenly you're making $70 per day. A good accountant would be alarmed and cut your most expensive spending. For our bodies, muscle is that expensive spending. It takes up nearly 250% more energy per pound than fat. So when it sees you're consuming drastically less energy, it starts getting rid of muscle, which decreases how much energy is needed to maintain your body, meaning your metabolism slows down. But 1 pound of fat takes up 400% more volume than 1 pound of muscle. So even if you reach your goal weight, you're looking round and pudgy instead of fit and defined. And then to combat this, if you're like me, you'd go even harder. Slash more calories or macros, or get even cleaner in my keto or whatever diet, expand my fasting window, maybe even throw in more exercise. All of which mean I'm consuming even lesser energy than my body needs to maintain itself. I'm making the problem worse. Now imagine if I had gotten to the same goal weight without losing as much muscle. Fit Me is able to eat more, making it far more likely that she keeps the weight off for life, while when Round Me regains the lost weight, she finds how much she can eat now is less than before. And the more she yo-yos back and forth between her overweight and goal weight, the lesser and lesser she can eat. How to solve the conundrum of I need to be in an energy deficit to lose weight, but if I'm in too big an energy deficit, I'll harm my metabolism. What's the way out? The answer is to ignore the weight loss target, calculators tell you, and instead calculate your maintenance target, or TDE, using a calculator. Then aim for 11 to 15% deficit at most. Having coached over 500 people, I have found this to be the sweet spot between maintaining as much muscle as possible while also losing 0.5 to 1% body weight per week, also known as the ideal weight loss rate, because those who lose at this rate tend to keep it off forever. Now let's look at the second habit. After I switched to being in an 11% deficit and reset my expectations to 0.5% weight loss per week on average, things felt a lot easier. I had room to still indulge in some chocolate at night. I could attend parties without feeling guilty for having a slice of pizza. and I could eat rice, noodles, and pasta in portions that I felt satisfied with. I felt some hunger pangs and lower energy from day to day, but they were nowhere near as intense or frequent as when I was in a 30% deficit. I figured this is normal because an 11% deficit is still a deficit. A combination of willpower, drinking water, and low-calorie foods like air pop popcorn and string cheese were sufficient to tide me over. But then as months went by, my hunger grew and grew, and my energy became lower and lower. My cravings also increased until I finally couldn't stick to my plan. I threw it all away at a massive brunch followed by, well, I'm off the wagon anyway, might as well start later, which kept me off weight loss for the next 6 months. The real reason to stay off the wagon wasn't that I'm off it, but the internal panic and helplessness at the thought of, if I can't stick to a mere 11% deficit, what hope do I have to lose weight ever? What I forgot was the 11% deficit was based off a maintenance target estimated by a calculator, which could be different than my body's actual maintenance target. The calculator served as a good starting point, but after that, I needed to listen to what my body was telling me. And what my body was telling me is that it's still unhappy. I will be losing more muscle than necessary if I kept going like I was, and will be slowing down my metabolism. I needed to address the second part of a happy metabolism, which boils down to 3 checks. First, I should not have been happy in those first few weeks where I saw more than 1% body weight loss per week. This rate by itself is fine, but it's not good when combined with the hunger pangs I was experiencing. This was my body telling me that my actual maintenance target is higher than what the calculator estimated. In reality, I'm in a deeper deficit and still at a higher risk of muscle loss and slowing metabolism. I should have upped my energy target by 5 to 10% for the next week and then kept adjusting it week over week until I slid into the 0.5 to 1% body weight loss per week range. If the first check passes, but I'm still experiencing hunger and low energy, the nutritional quality is lacking to maintain my muscle mass. Specifically, I should focus on at least 17% of my energy intake to come from protein. While the fitness focused channels will tell you to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, which is a lot and would require a lot of effort on the meal planning front, and looking at the data of our 500 plus weight loss clients, plus my own personal experience, in practice, 17% is sufficient to curb hunger, may even mitigate cravings, and prevents unnecessary muscle loss. Bonus, the extra meal planning effort often requires just having a string cheese or protein bar handy between meals. And if the second check also passes, but you're still low energy or hungry, then you need to dial in your sleep and stress. In this state, you start gaining fat while losing muscle. It means your body is in a catabolic state, and the thing to do is counterintuitive. Back off on the energy deficit, back off on the exercise intensity, and make space for mental health. And only after this is settled, go back to ramping up weight loss efforts. But if you can't go into a deeper deficit, how do you get past weight loss plateaus? A natural weight loss trend looks like this, meaning every 3 to 4 months, you will get stuck. This is why you don't want to ignore this video, where my co-coach Lucy walks through the 3 things she did to boost her metabolism, break through plateaus, and lose 30 pounds. So you don't want to miss the complete step-by-step breakdown here. And always remember, you can do it.